So tonight's episode is multi-layered. It was originally prompted. So I watched, and this had been a thing online. Tucker Carlson, who is a conservative, I guess at this point you would say podcaster, did an interview with our ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee is the former governor of Arkansas. He was a presidential candidate. He lost. Obviously didn't become president. His daughter, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was in Trump's first 4 years in office, was the press secretary. Mike Huckabee, in the second term of President Trump, is the first evangelical Christian to be the ambassador of Israel. Trump had moved the embassy to Jerusalem. Mike Huckabee is the ambassador of America in Israel. And there's been like a lot of things going on. And again, the social media sphere is one thing. I don't know how much this bleeds into mainstream culture. This might even be new to you. You might recognize Tucker Carlson because he had a primetime show on Fox News for years and years and years. And before that, he's been a conservative political commentator, reporter for decades. Tucker does interviews, and he's had some sketchy characters on his podcast. And Tucker's like, I'm not platforming anyone. I'm just having conversations with people. Like he has somehow gotten lumped in with Candace Owens, who is kind of a wingnut. Nick Fuentes, who is also kind of a wingnut. I don't think that's necessarily a fair comparison. Tucker just likes to have conversations with people. Not defending Tucker Carlson in any way. My only point is that the origins of tonight's episode were manifested off of an interview that Tucker gave with Mike Huckabee. So Mike Huckabee and him from their days in Fox. Apparently Tucker was even a journalist in Arkansas when Mike Huckabee was governor. Their connections go back decades. So there were a lot of things being said. Mike Huckabee accused him of being anti-Semitic. Tucker's fired back in his own way. It was like, well, let's have a conversation. So Tucker got invited to Israel to conduct an interview with the United States ambassador, Mike Huckabee. And this is online. It's on YouTube. You can go to X. You can find a copy of it. You can listen to it. You can watch it. I did. I listened. What was it, Creighton? Like 2.5 hours?
Closer to 3, yeah.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched like 70% of it.
Okay. You tap out towards the end or the beginning?
Towards the end.
Okay, that's fine.
Because towards the end,
it devolves into something else.
Yes.
No, 100%. I totally agree with you. The more interesting part's the first half, I would say. It's fascinating. I even had a conversation like I overheard somebody this Sunday say like, yeah, what the heck happened to Tucker? Like, this is a crazy thing. I'm like, man, I watched it with an open mind, and like I have like some different views. Like, I don't think Mike Huckabee did much. Like, you agree with me that he did not do much for the argument of like evangelical Christians or biblical Christians?
I am not a particular fan of Tucker Carlson. I think he's fine. I don't know him.
I'm not a fanboy in any regard. I enjoy him, but whatever.
So I went in it like, hey, what is this?
Because I said, okay, for context, knowing that this was going to be the episode, I sent this video to the guys on Outlaw Radio and was like, hey, take a look at this. I would love for you to watch it if you can, so you can provide some feedback. So, like, you didn't find this on your own. I sent it to you. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. The only reason I ever watch political stuff is because Zach sent it to me for the episode.
Ain't that the truth?
Yes. But I found that like in the episode, I thought that Tucker Carlson was asking a lot of good questions, and I thought Mike Huckabee was kind of ducking a lot of things or not answering the questions that Tucker was asking. But then I also thought that Tucker was not following up in the way that I wanted him to, is the way that I felt about it. Was like, I'm trying to think of a specific example I'm terrible at, but like Tucker Carlson would be like, what exactly is the area that God promised to Israel? And Mike Huckabee was like, well, the area they're in right now is the Gaza Strip, and
they both dodged.
And Tucker Carlson would be like, yeah, but in Genesis, and Mike Huckabee like, well, yeah, what they have now. And I'm like, what are we talking about? And I also felt that Tucker Carlson felt the same way, is like, what are we talking about?
I found myself way more sympathetic with Tucker Carlson than I did Mike Huckabee.
Agreed.
I thought Mike Huckabee really did a disservice for an evangelical perspective.
What is he talking about the whole time?
So, okay, can we very quickly, because this is relevant, we'll just throw this in, an X, Y of Z's post, because I've been Xing about all kinds of things. So a little bit of X, Y of Z's posts. Justin, we're not shofaring it yet. We're not getting to a prophecy update. We'll get to that later. I want to address just the interview because that's going to be a segue. Because after I'd even started prepping the show this weekend, guess what? We decided to launch a full-scale war against Iran, and I
noticed that, yeah,
and that upped the ante to this whole conversation. So like, again, we're going to talk about like Israel. What's the deal with Christians divided about Jews? How does this tie into eschatology? Is the rapture going to happen? We're going to get into all of this stuff tonight. But I want to start with, and Aaron's like, oh my gosh, I just stumbled into like maybe the most controversial episode yet, but I love it. Yes. We brought in the guy with the septum ring for the conspiracies.
You made a good move.
Yeah, there you go. So I want to get to just the Tucker Huckabee interview. I want to address a few things because that's going to set the stage for a bigger, broader conversation about just the whole thing in general. At any point, if we get comments online, please, when the moment's right, jump in. Do we already have one?
No, I'll just say I'll blow my comment shofar.
Okay, you'll blow your... Okay. If we get... Justin has been waiting for months to blow his shofar.
That's because we came up with a great segment.
We did. We've never introduced this segment.
Never introduced it.
So we wanted to do...
It's never come to fruition, and I brought my own personal one here, and it's been here this entire time.
Hold it up for the camera, Justin.
It's a mini shofar.
It's made out of ram's horn.
It is. I got this in... either Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. I can't remember. But
in Israel, you can just say in
Israel.
Israel.
I got it in Israel. Last time I was there. But
okay, let me address the Tucker interview. And this is more of like not about the questions that Tucker asked. I'm going to get to the motivation of those questions. That's going to happen. That's going to be the episode, really. But I want to address like the way that Mike Huckabee answered them because it was dumb. It was dumb. It was just dumb. So like Tucker asks, like one of the line of questionings basically boils down to like what claim do the Jewish people have to this land? And Mike Huckabee immediately goes into like international law and he starts talking about the Balfour Declaration and what UN proclamations and that they had like international law gives them claim to the land. And then he like once challenged to that, like then reverted to like, well, they have a historical claim to the land, which is why they should have the land because they can show archaeologically a connection to it. And Tucker's like, well, then like, don't the Brits have, they have a longer legacy to that land. So don't they have a claim to there? Or he mentioned the Irish. He never even brought up Native Americans, which I thought would have been a great point of like, well, wait a second. Don't the Native American Indians have more of a claim to America than the Anglos that moved here, et cetera, et cetera? So like Mike Huckabee like watered down this whole topic by getting into like international law as the justification or like historical claims. Again, and Tucker kept pushing it and Mike Huckabee fought against it. The appropriate answer should have been, why do the Jewish people have claim to this land? God gave them claim to the land. Like that, it should have been cut and dry. We're not going to talk about international law. We're not going to talk about historical legacies or claims or connections. It should have just been cut and dry, Mike Huckabee. Like God gave them land. Like that's why. That's why they have claim to the land is that God gave them the land. Now, you can argue about the theology or the accuracy of any of that, but like Mike Huckabee did such a disservice to that argument by just not taking a biblical approach. Like, and he tried to, I don't know, Creighton, again, you watch it. You didn't watch it, Justin. No. And Aaron, I know you didn't see it. I haven't seen it. But like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know
exactly what you're saying, because then he completely folds when
Tucker pushed all of those issues.
Tucker's like, so when God gives him claim to like from
no, we'll get to that. But he says, well, what about Britain? Like, did they not have claim?
Right?
Because
no, they
international
don't have
law?
claim because God didn't give the Britons claim to Britain.
To me, it's like, well, what about North Korea? I mean, they have historical claim to the land in the northern part of Korea. Why do we have any, or Japan or any other? Again, to me, Tucker missed the point of like taking it to America, because that's the easiest one. Like, wait a second, we colonialized America. Like, there was an indigenous native people that transcended Anglos in America.
I think here's the key factor. Aside from God gave it to him, right? It was conquered, and that's the main difference that a lot of people don't like using that word, conquered lands. Specifically, and this is after the Balfour Agreement and Israel becoming a nation in 1948. Immediately after they're granted independence, 6 different Arab nations attacked them at the same time, and they beat them all.
Okay, so I'm with you. Again, you didn't watch. Like, I'm just suggesting the interview.
Yeah, I didn't.
So like,
I didn't watch it.
That's a convoluted argument, because what I'm saying is, like, even then Tucker would say, well, wait a second. There are other people groups that can predate even the Jewish people in that land.
Right.
That there's, like, we have the rock city of Petra. We have other Semitic people that were in the land. Like, why is this like somehow a granted thing that Israel has this land? And Mike Huckabee went to all different, like, he said international law, which is like, well, wait a second. So international law with other peoples, like, what does that mean? Which is a terrible argument. And then he went to like, well, they have a historical claim, the city of David. Well, wait a second. That's 1000 BC, which is early, but like, there are all kinds of other people groups that are in the land, and again, whether they exist now or not.
Well, I think that's what I'm getting at is so many people in the West or Western thought, they want to be I don't know how to say not above board, but they think conquering is a bad thing.
Virtuous.
They want to be virtuous. So when you say these people groups were conquered and they were taken, this has happened for thousands of years,
All over the place.
right?
Every spit of land that people live on was conquered by somebody at some
right. And I think so many people want to be, like you said, virtuous, and they don't want to say that the land was conquered, and it's just been a constant back and forth, even in the Americas before the Columbus. Even before that, like, Native American tribes were conquering other Native American tribes and taking their land. It was a back and forth constantly, and that's
and the Mormons would say the Jews were there before all of them, right? Yeah.
And so, and to
Missouri,
me,
right?
And I guess the reason why I'm saying is like that whole concept is such a stupid argument.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna caution you to get too far ahead of me.
I don't want to get too far ahead. I'm just waiting for my moment.
Yes. Yeah. Your shofar's ready.
Yep.
So again, like Mike Huckabee, the answer, like, it was stupid. Like, the international law, the historical argument, like, just whatever. Like, just be a Christian, because even Tucker, like, hey, I'm talking to you as a theologian. Like, you're a Baptist minister. Forget about you being ambassador of a country. Like, I want to know what is the claim here. And he goes to all these other things and just watered it down. All you had to say is, why did the Jews have a claim to the land? God gave it to them. That's it. Like, it's literally a religious, you can debate whether God gave it to them or not, but I'm saying God gave it to them. That's the Jewish perspective, and that's also the Christian perspective. Then the follow-up question was like, okay. Well, so now, like, how much of the land did God give them? And this is, again, where Mike Huckabee just like takes a dump in left field. Like, it's stupid.
He folds.
Like, he's like, He's like, well, yeah, I mean, they're not like, it's just there's, and he keeps like, it's just a small sliver of land. Who cares? Whatever. It's theirs. But Tucker's like, well, wait a second. Like, you're going back to God gave them this, but God clearly like sets the parameters in multiple places in the Old Testament that the land that God gave Abraham and his descendants extend from the Nile in the south to the Euphrates in the north. Like, this is a massive section of land that includes technically part of Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, part of Iraq. So, like, is that all of their land? And Mike Huckabee like would say, well, they're not wanting that. They just want their little sliver of land. And like he completely parses and pivots. He's not biblical at all. The answer, when Tucker said, how much of the land from the Nile to the Euphrates did God give them? The answer would be all of it. Simple. Well, why aren't they taking all of it? Well, that's a question for the Jews. Because God gave them the land, and God gave them all of it. How much of it they want to take? Well, what about the West Bank? That God gave it to them. What about Gaza? God gave it to them. What about Lebanon? God gave it to them. Like, again, like Mike Huckabee, I get you're the ambassador of Israel for America, but you like the whole premise here is that you're some theologian representing evangelical Americans, a biblical perspective. So the answer, and somebody like he even says all of it, and like Tucker pushes and he's like, oh, I'd have no problems with them taking all of it. And Tucker's like, wait, what? Like, that's a new geopolitical statement. Like he kind of corners him there, but instead of doubling down, just being biblically honest, which might have caused him to lose his job, honestly. He did his service to the Bible by like parsing. He could have added like, hey, they're not going to have all of it till Jesus comes back. And at that point, yeah, Jerusalem will be the capital and the borders will expand. Like, this was a futuristic prophecy. It might not happen in our day. I get that. But Mike Huckabee didn't go there at all.
You can even go, because when I was watching it, the thing that I was thinking was like, yeah, God promised them all of that land and then gave them a series of criteria that they needed to do to make that true. And then they never did them. And so now they're where they're at, and that's where they're at. I thought that would also be an easy response. And he took the worst response, which is, yes, God gave them all that land, but this is all we're asking for now.
But they don't want it.
Right, but they don't want
it, so what are we talking about? And it's like,
it's such a jellyfish. I hate jellyfish. It's a jellyfish answer.
But I appreciated Tucker pushing the issue, because who's doing that? Who's asking those questions?
Right.
And he's being called an anti-Semite for asking it, but it's like, dude, that's a good question. Like, it's just a question. Answer it. Because the answer is easy. It's all theirs.
It's supposed to be.
If they want to take it all, great. I don't think they'll actually have it until the millennial reign of Christ. That's a whole nother topic, but they want to take it. Who am I to stand in their way?
Agreed.
Not like a PC answer, but a biblical one. And then I thought the other question that was asked was, okay, so the Jews have claim to the land. Who exactly can make that claim?
Who are the Jews?
Now, that's a great question. And again, this is another instance where Mike Huckabee, like, just...
Can I give you the thing that made me rage a little bit while I was at work? At one point,
I'm on a treadmill, like losing my mind.
Dude, I'm watching it, and I'm sitting in my office, and at one point, Tucker is asking him, and Tucker asked him like 4 or 5 times.
He pushes him hard too.
And at one point, Mike Huckabee responds with, "The Jews are the people who have the genetics, the familial ties, and worship the same God." And I'm like, my first thought was, what? The Arabs claim familial ties to Abraham the same way the Jews do, and half of them claim they worship the same God the Jews do. What does that mean?
Like, define it.
Who? I worship the same God as the Jews. I'm 75% black and a quarter Italian. Can I move to Israel? Like, what does it mean?
And Tucker pushed that, and his answer was 2 things. which I found interesting. He said, well, ethnically, if you're Jewish, you have claim to the land. And Tucker pushed that, like, well, wait a second, what does that mean? Because Bibi Netanyahu
Is Polish.
Polish. And again, I don't want to get into like the whole 23andMe, the ethnic thing, whatever. That's a deeper conversation for later. But like, that's an honest question. And Mike Huckabee had no answer for it. And again, Tucker would have been smart about it. Well, wait a second. Like, the Jewish people, there's a foundational idea of genealogy, genealogical records. All that gets lost in 70 AD. So you want to say these communities exist wherever? I don't, sure, but like ethnically, like you're placing this whole thing on this ethnic tie.
My question is, like, how Jewish do you have to be?
Well, and so there's a criteria for that, which they get into. They talk about that.
Okay, I might have missed that.
They talk about like the like what makes an ethnic Jew. So okay, if you can improve some type of ethnicity, great, whatever. But that's only half of it. And this is where Mike Huckabee again like really convolutes the topic, because he's like, well, being a Jew isn't just about ethnicity. It's also about religion. So ethnicity is part of it, but not all of it, because if you're religiously Jewish, you're a Jew. And Tucker's like, well, wait a second. And he even makes a comment like, all the founders of Israel were atheists. They were not religious in any way. They did not adhere to Judaism. And they couldn't necessarily show like genealogical connection.
They didn't have DNA in, what was it, 84?
No, this is
48.
48, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have DNA.
Yeah. So like, and again, that's a touchy question to ask, obviously, but isn't it still a relevant one, like an important one? Like who can make the claim? Ethnic Jews. But then there's this another criteria that like you have to like show that you're religiously Jewish. Now, here's the thing. I'm totally okay with that, because biblically, there are a lot of Gentiles that are considered to be Jews because they became proselytes. They get grafted in. Like there's a concept biblically, Old Testament, Rahab the harlot, Tamar before that. Like there are multiple examples of people from foreign ethnicities becoming Jewish, not by bloodline, but by a decision of faith in the God of Israel. I'm okay with that.
I can make a solid argument that that is the point of the Jewish nation in the Old Testament, is to make proselytes of the people around them.
So, but here's the thing. Mike Huckabee blows that. Like he could just say, listen, if you're ethnically Jew, if you can show that, great. And if you make the decision to become part of the religion of Judaism, even if you're Gentile, that also is a criteria. I would have been fine with that. But the irony, and we're going to get to this a little bit later, is that if you can prove that you're an ethnic Jew, but you happen to be a Christian, guess what? You can't be a citizen of Israel. So it's like, okay, Mike Huckabee, Christian, what's the deal with that? So again, the whole interview itself was like, oh my goodness, I think Tucker asks, okay, he's a bit of a jerk and kind of a like his interview style is you either like it or you hate it. That's being fair. And he even says that at the beginning of the interview. And like the stuff that happens apparently before the interview
And after.
and like that's all crazy. You can see that in the video. But like Mike Huckabee, like I just want to like brother to brother. I mean, you set back the evangelical perspective about Israel, like shut the heck up. Like what claim do they have to the land? God gave them the claim. How much of the land? All of it. And who can make the claim? If you're an ethnic Jew or you're a proselyte, you can't. You're done. Like the interview took 5 minutes. Like, but you so parsed it to be politically correct, you set things back a long way. Now, I want to pivot the episode because with that in mind, I want to broaden it. And I guess before I do that, you have any thoughts, you guys, to what I just said about the Israel? Creighton, you saw it, but you guys didn't. Any?
I didn't, but I didn't, but I've lived it.
In what way?
Like
I know you of all people lived there.
Yeah,
so.
I lived there. I know Messianic Jews. I know people that made Aliyah, that were believers.
Define Aliyah.
Aliyah is, for lack of a better term, becoming
pilgrimage.
Pilgrim. It means to go up, but it go up to Jerusalem. Essentially, becoming a citizen of Israel.
So if like someone in America,
as a Jew,
if someone in America wants to migrate, or if someone from Poland or some other Eastern European country, Russia, wants to move to Israel, they declare Aliyah,
and you have to meet all those requirements and stuff like that,
which we'll get to.
Right. And I don't want to get ahead of you, but the Jewish Messianic Jewish community in Israel is extremely small.
Which we'll get to.
They talk about that in the interview.
And very, very, very few of them made Aliyah as Messianic believers.
And there's a lot of Christians that were in Gaza and are still in the West Bank that are denied a ton of rights by the state of Israel.
Right. So the Arab Christians in of themselves are a whole different thing, because they're basically hated on both sides, and it's because I know some of those guys too, and it's a whole separate issue almost.
It's a forgotten issue because American evangelicalism doesn't address it at all.
Right.
Which we're gonna address.